let's talk some conclusions. So I continue to be quite puzzled about all these Sukhoi 34s getting shot down over Ukraine. I'm not sure how the Ukrainians are doing it, and if it's true, that means that there is still a lot more Patriot systems around, because the Sukhoi 34s are used to drop the glide bombs, and they don't have to fly very near to the front line. So which means that they have to be engaged in a further distance. And the two surface-to-air missile systems that I noticed to be operating is the Patriots, maybe, and the NASAM, the North American surface-to-air missile system. But the NASAM is a shorter range surface-to-air missile system. It's not as long range as the Patriot, because they are using the MRAM as the missile system. So it's a bit unclear whether they can actually operate in that way. There is and then we also have the Ukrainians getting their planes shot down as well. So both are claiming each things at each other. We just have to take it with a pinch of salt. The Russians are also seemingly ramping up their attack on the air bases. So this is already not the first time we have reported over the past week that the Russians attacked the air bases. And when we look at the weather, let me refresh. Okay, we're gonna jump back to Singapore again. In terms of the Ukraine, the winter seems to be over. The temperature is firmly over 0 degrees, which is why any video footages that turn out to have snow is definitely dated, and the ground is going to look like the 2 years ago when the conflict just started. Everything is just brown and dirty and devastating looking, because winter is over. They're waiting for spring to land, and I believe the spring is probably coming soon. Given this temperature, I think the plants, the trees and the grass is going to grow very, very soon. So the temperature is definitely way above 0, but there's no rain yet. Everything looks really dry right now. 0, 0, 0, 0 everywhere. So that's why everything looks really dry and devastating. If we look at the movement, there is literally no rain. So the Rasputica is not here yet. It might be coming soon. So the Russians are definitely taking advantage of the situation, which is exactly the same timing, the same month that they used to launch an attack on Ukraine. So given the Russians knowing their climate pretty well, they probably thought that this period of time, February to March-ish area, this time zone is the best time to launch an attack. So probably this is why we are looking at the Russian offensive right now. And this offensive is likely based on this situation continue for another month. And then things is going to start to get sucky. So it's going to get difficult and more difficult given the rain falling. So, and then everything get muddy. So which means that we will continue to expect the Russian offensive to go on for another month, given the first year's experience of how the Russians attacked Ukraine. And in terms of the frontline change, Krinky looks to be really, really suspicious. There is no more mention of Krinky in the Ukrainian Defense Ministry's report for some time. There is also no more footages coming out from the Russian side of FPV attacks or artillery shelling or airstrikes on Krinky. It looks like Krinky is gone, given the lack of concrete or solid evidence of Ukrainian presence over there. So we will continue to monitor and to see whether we can acknowledge that. The Russians are continues to get stuck over at Robotini. Probably due to the mining and then the Ukrainians reinforcement coming to hold the line. The Russians now concentrate their attention over in the northwestern part, but it was quickly shut down by Ukrainian counterattack. So we will continue to see how this developed. So this salient did not fall as fast as I imagined. The Ukrainians did a very good job at throwing the mines down and stopping the advance. So we will continue to see whether they will be able to hold the assault. Maybe the Ukrainians are a lot more competent than how I imagine them to be over at this front line. Another interesting part is the Mariupol region. The Russian push over at the Mariupol. So previously it was thought to be a Ukrainian attack. Turns out, coming from Russian sources, it is actually more of a Russian attack, and they are pushing towards Hulyaipole. So this is a very, very interesting attack, and for battles to come to Hulyaipole is going to be a massive strategic setback for the Ukrainians, because this is an important transport hub. So if these fall, then you're going to see a massive detour. You can see that the highway system looks like this. So this is the highway system from Orikhiv. This leads all the way to Zaporizhia. This leads all the way down to Constantinople. And there's a main road coming down to Velika Novosilka as well. And of course, there's a main road coming to Velika Novosilka. But the above ones, these are the highway. And so if Hulyaipole is gone, then this entire highway becomes rather not usable. And any advances or reinforcement, let's say from Orikhiv, they have to go one big round if they want to use the highway, or they have to use the smaller roads to help to hold a new front line should Hulyaipole fall. So this is actually very important for the Ukrainians. Less important in terms of the Russians' operational needs. But if the Russians get it, if they manage to conquer Hulyaipole, then they're going to incur a strategic I wouldn't say strategic defeat. I think that's a bit too big of a word, but strategic obstacles for the Ukrainians. So that is something that I think is interesting to watch. And all these probings attack at Malinivka, Levatne, Staromayorsky, Uruzhaine, you see, and then push at Mafopil. It's just in general very interesting that the Russians are probing along all the lines, trying to stretch the Ukrainian forces. We will continue to wait and see how this goes. Attack from the south of Volhyda, of course, is very interesting. I wonder if this will develop into a major assault into the Volhyda region, into the Volhyda city. Not sure if this will happen. This is just the first report of this kind, attack south of Volhyda. So for a long time, the last time the Russians pushed from this area here was long time ago. So we'll wait and see. Novomihailivka, when did? And then now another interesting one is this Pobjeda. The Russians capturing of Pobjeda is now confirmed by the Russian Defense Ministry. They are now pushing west of Pobjeda, and this actually is confirmed by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. The fact that the Ukrainians actually say west of Pobjeda or Pobjeda means that they actually quietly acknowledge the fall of this town, and the Russians are pushing west according to the Ukrainians. The Russian mentioned Antonivka, suggesting the possibility of their pushing southwest. So it remains to be seen where they are heading. There's a good chance the Russians may actually just head down the highway towards Konstantinivka. So, and if they do, this is going to be catastrophic, because the front line area here around the Novomihailivka region requires Konstantinivka's survival. So we will wait and see how this progress in this front line. Just interesting. If the Russians really do this, it's going to become part of the military, one of those battles to be written into the history textbook. How they destroyed a very strong line of defense by actually hitting into the rear. So the kind of thing. And we move on. The Krasnohorivka situation is now corroborated. We have the news of the Russians actually pushing down the highway, not the highway, the main road towards Krasnohorivka. This is how they reached there. But no news regarding the battles inside of Krasnohorivka. So we'll wait and see. Avdiivka continues to be the same thing. The Russians are trying to push through the south region. Fighting is now at Olivka and Tonenke. So they're going to push towards Umanske and in this general arrow direction. And the fall of Stepove must be very devastating for the Ukrainians. And they're going to continue to push directly towards Semenivka, because Berdaichi is actually a very strong defensive position for the Ukrainians. If the Russians push through to Semenivka, this will break Berdaichi, and the Russians can attack from the rear positions, which is what they have done to all these very strong defenses, these strong lines over at Avdiivka. So, which is why I suspect this might be the objective of the Russians. Yeah, and New York front, nothing to talk about. Bakhmut front, the only thing is Ivaniske, but we are still waiting for more information. The Russians, according to Ryba, they say that they are continue to fight in the central part of the city. This is entirely not acknowledged yet by the Ukrainian side, so we'll wait and see. And the rest of the front line is not very important, except over at the Kupiansk front. I mentioned in the SITREP, the Russians are attacking Ivanivska as well as pushing out of the Baivka. There's possibility that they are actually attempting one pincer movement to take out the very, very strong defenses over at Kaislivka and Kotyarivka. So, but of course, things never turn out the way you plan. So let's see how this progress. And Sinkivka is a scam. Ignore it. And that's it. So thank you for watching. Do press the like button, subscribe. And the super panel with Willie OAM, History Legend, and Wild Siberia is almost about to reach 1,000 views. So if you have not catch it, do catch it. It already it is now the second highest viewed video. No, not second, third highest viewed video among all my videos. No, that's so sad. My videos are so not 100k type of videos. But anyway, so this is definitely trending to be at least the second most viewed video. The most viewed video by DPA is actually also the super panel, but for the first year, where we have Scott Ritter on with History Legend as well as Sanya Florida. So anyway, do catch it. It's very, very interesting. People who don't usually watch anything more than 30 minutes are hooked, and they actually watch the whole thing. So if you have not watched it, I bet you will love it. So thank you for watching again. Do press the like button, subscribe, and if you want to catch all these SITREP uncut with no ads, join the Patreon. Give me to help to provide a safety net for DPA, and I'll see you guys in the next update.